to use a stamp set. We're going to use one of the new, this is the Watercolor Hearts, just talk about working with different stamps. I have a lot of different stamp sets I released this time, very different. Obviously starting with Bird Crazy, which people seem to like. Birds are very fun. This guy's been really popular this show, just because of that. That's the reaction. It's just, you look at them, you just don't really know whether they're serious or whether you're laughing. They're certainly not Angry Birds. They're just crazy. And you can think of a million things that each one is thinking, which I think is the best part of this stamp set. But these guys are really fun because you can put them on, you know, just about any kind of card or project. And
not exactly any, but
yeah, you could. You really could. Thinking of you, miss you, or other things.
Are you okay?
There's also some really cool new sets I want to talk about. This one, of course, being my personal favorite, it's called Correspondence. I freaking love this set, and I will tell you why. There are more images on this set than I've ever put on a single stamp set, and he agreed that he would do it. In other words, covering an entire set with rubber. They're all cut, but you have to go in, of course, and personally remove the outside. I will tell you that. I have a lot of sets that are like this, that are alphabets and things like that, and my suggestion to people is don't go in and weed them. That's what you call it, where you actually take off this outer part and throw it away, because these are small little stamps. So even if you have the alphabet or anything like that, if you want to go ahead and use the stamp, you can take the stamp. They're all cut, of course. So we can still use it, don't worry about the outside, but once I'm done with it, now I've got a place to lock it back in. Instead of having this one stuck, there's not much of a surface. So if you put that in a set and you put it in a book with everything else, as soon as you hit it, it's going to fall off.
So when people remove the forms that's around?
They remove the outside. Well, that's what's done with every other stamp set. It all starts with a piece of rubber and then they just rip it off. But if they had to rip this off, it would take someone too many fingers to, so they wouldn't do it. Yeah, it could be something. But this, I just like to lock them back in, so because my stamp's never going to get damaged that way. I love this set. Oh my gosh. When he agreed to it, well, first he thought it was one stamp. It's like, how is everyone going to stamp with that? Is the light driving you crazy?
Thanks.
Yeah. Is it making your camera go funky?
No, I figured that one out.
Did you? Yeah. Which one, does it do it in all modes?
No, it's when it's dipped.
Oh, really? Does it, so
no, it doesn't matter which mode, but
no?
if you take it down.
Oh, then it gets all... I wondered that. Now I know. Because when I do my videos, like sometimes I have my light on and it's good, and other times I'm like...
Yeah, if you like, dim it to the base, that's the worst. But like 1 and 2 is fine, but the worst.
Oh, good to know. Thanks. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because sometimes I am. Yeah, sometimes I do dim it down, but then it does get a little funky. So I think that's just, that's good.
And if you can control your camera 100th of a second, shutter.
Oh, now you're technical. Forget it, please. Okay. So Correspondence. Another one that I really like, this one is called Botanical Sketch, and this is a really beautiful watercolor stamp. This particular stamp is really big, has these great words in the background, and this stamp set comes with its own grid block. So in the package with the set is a block to fit that stamp, okay? Because I wanted this stamp for a specific size, because when I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use it on a card, so if I'm just using a regular A2 card, wherever I place it, that's going to change the position of this spotlight, right? So if I wanted it right in the middle, I would stamp it that way. If I wanted it in one corner, any place on the card that I want, that's why I wanted this to be slightly larger. And of course, because I didn't have a grid block, I'm like, can you just include a grid block? This is a beautiful stamp because it has a lot of different looks to it. You can use it to color in, or you can use it as a resist. And I'm gonna rip off the board and bring it over to show you as soon as I'm done. This set's so cool. This is called Watercolor. And that's because this stamp set, when you use it, looks like watercolor, whether you use water or not. So even just using ink, and that's why I grabbed these hearts, if you ink it up and stamp it, you're going to get that watercolor look. So let's say we just go in with worn lipstick, fired brick, any color of distress ink. Obviously, if you add water, you're going to get even more of a watercolor look. But if I just wanted to stamp it, and maybe I wanted to stamp it on a coated paper or watercolor paper, the image itself already has that very watery edge to it. It's not perfect, okay? But like I said, if I wanted to use watercolor paper and I'm going to add some ink to it, and maybe I want to just give it a mist with water, I can stamp it on either side. But when I stamp that, because people that can watercolor, they're like, oh please, that's like 2 brush strokes. I'm like, yeah, my hearts never look like that. Nope, I got a big one and a little one and a drip. Yeah. That's why anytime I see Amy Tan where she's writing her script in watercolor, don't you just want to, yeah. Have you seen her? You follow her on Instagram and she's like, oh, I'm going to do a watercolor quote. I'm like, you could pick any letter of the alphabet and I couldn't even paint that letter with a brush. No, not in scale. And she's doing an entire quote. I would love to watch it. I hope she does like a time lapse of it, because I would want to see, yeah, is it really one or is that like the 20th one because she gets one way and you wonder? Yeah. She's that talented though. I know she did it on the first try. I think that's great skill. So here is showing you that same stamp on the smooth side of the distressed watercolor cardstock. That's obviously going to give you more of a solid image than that side, but all 3 of those are watercolor. So I'm going to go grab the board real quick and then I'll get back to what I was doing with them. Here's what's really cool about this. So right here, don't want to knock her in the head. All right, okay. So here you can see this is the watercolor set. So you can see that the butterfly, all you have to do is color the butterfly with different colors of distress markers, stamp it, finished. To get these watercolor flowers, that's what these blobs of color are. You just ink them up and stamp them, and when you layer them, stamp that, stamp that, stamp that, you get a flower. But it looks watercolored, right? The leaves look watercolored. That's what's really great about this set. This and this, same exact stamp. It's this stamp. See how different it looks? This one's stamped coloring in, this one's stamped and embossed in white. Fine detail white, and then you just ink over the top of it. So even though you're like, there's no way it's the same stamp, it's exactly the same stamp. So it's just nice to see kind of the difference. And then of course we have
How'd you do the clouds
bird
and
tracing.
the birds?
It's a die cut. So that's the movers and shapers die of the cloud, putting that in. Shaw Fowler did that. I love these. And then of course I love the blueprints, the robots, the coffee. Yeah. That's also, that's another new one. Yeah, the flower garden. It's great because you have these individual flower heads and these different stems. So if you can't draw, you can't even draw a flower like I can't, this is perfect. Because you can just stamp that and color it in. Yeah, I can do that, and it's gonna make people think that you sat there with a pen and they're like, oh, you drew those flowers? I did. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm doing all right.
How'd you do the robots thing over there?
These are the blueprints. So these are the big blueprints, and this is the mini set, and they're just stamped in watercolor. Yeah, beautiful, isn't it?
Those are really sweet.
Yeah, they're great. It's really fun to see, this particular release was really motivated by things to color. I've got so many emails saying, I love the blueprints and I like that I can color them, but I wish you made things that were different that we could color in. So that's why you see the influence of the birds. There's also a great fashion one called Runway. That's just a great artistic sketch of fashion. Yeah, if you go to Stampers Anonymous, they have it on their shirts today. So it's cool. So I just wanted to talk about the stamps. I'll put this back so they don't think I stole it.